Hey everybody, Chris here. Is it a dip then rip for Dogecoin and other cryptos? We're going to talk about that in this video. Please be sure to subscribe to my channel. Hit that little notification bell too. You can be notified when new videos come out as well as when new live streams. And so for the past couple of days, we've been watching this shift in Dogecoin's price from about 9.2 cents down to about 8.6, 8.65 seems to be sort of the level with yesterday a move down lower to the 8.4s, but then overnight we had a move higher up to the 8.9s. So currently at 8.8 with potential further pullback to this 8.6 area. That seems to be sort of the level move. XRP is doing the same thing, right around $1.41, a little bit lower yesterday, a little bit higher early this morning, and now falling back. Kind of interesting that these two are mirroring each other. ETH went on a big run back up over 2,500 and has almost given back all of those gains, while Bitcoin did touch right over 80,000 and then has since given that up. So up and down action is happening. A lot of it is taking out some shorts. Leverage trading is always kind of what moves the markets, and you'll see that I still think that there is lower to go to take out more leverage long trades. That is the bigger dip. Right now we're zoomed in and looking at a more close price action as we begin. Of course, this morning we have all these accounts saying, "Oh, Bitcoin reclaims 80,000. Woo! Like everything's a bull market," but yet it did, and then drop back down. So we still have that going on, right? Up and down action. The Bitcoin bull market is almost confirmed. Crypto Goose says his model stacked 5 levels that have confirmed every past bull market, reclaim all of them, and historically Bitcoin never looked back. 3 are green, 2 are still red. Bitcoin is sitting below the 50-week moving average and the 365-day moving average. That's the last wall. So if you believe in moving averages and what needs to be reclaimed, we are looking at these two remaining 50-week moving average is at 81.1, 365-day moving average is at 82,866. So according to him, if Bitcoin reclaims that 365-day moving average, then it's full bull market, because that has happened in the past, 2023, 2019, etc. So that is one view of things, and it could take a while to get there still. Bitcoin has a clear imbalance. Look below current first price left, and 75 to 78 holds the single biggest cluster on the whole chart, and then look above on the right, and nothing close to that size until you're well into the mid 80s. So this is the view of where the leverage sits now. We did have this slight move up over 80,000, took out some of these shorts here. However, the bigger cluster of long leverage is down here at 77,000. Of course, off this chart over to the left, once you get down into the 60s, they're even bigger. There's $200 to $300 million spikes that are way back here off the chart. So if we do have a big negative catalyst in the markets and price goes down, we could see Bitcoin going right from 75 down to 71 and lower pretty quickly to try and grab those bigger longs. But these are definitely within range down to 77,000. And that is how we have seen the markets move. We look at these models, the heat maps or so, and we think 77,000 is right here. And that is right in the range that we saw on Sunday with the dip down to 76. So for Bitcoin to go and retest that cluster makes sense on a dip. And if that does that, we could see Doge again retesting 8.1 cents down here, which is our target on the fib retracement line. that would be the dip that we would have. Now, could we see Doge test 8 cents and dip a little further? We've seen Doge act like that before and do that kind of move. So we'll be watching that. Lofty says Bitcoin just confirmed a worst case scenario, has rejected the breakout, and we're still a so-called bull trap because it is still a lower high from 83 to 81 is still a lower high. We have not reclaimed that level yet. We reclaimed the lower high at 83. We're back over a 365-day moving average, and those are all of the signals for us to move into a bull market. But that has not happened yet. So we are still watching. We're still watching what happens there. Clock is running out for the 4-year cycle. Again, this is in terms of time. Typically, we have around 365 days of a full bear market, which began in October 10th. Remember 10/10 and the big drop. That is when we started this long trek. Now, Bitcoin itself kind of flattened. I mean, today, after the big run up, Bitcoin's only down 37% now, instead of the 50, 54 down at the bottoms. That is starting to signal the turn to a bull market right there. If we come back and retest and are back down, then it's very similar to maybe some of these previous little blips that we had. Some happened a little earlier in the cycle, and some were a little more flattened and subdued. So that seems to be the pattern. We'll see whether this actually does come back down, flattens out a bit. But we do have less volatility, as I've been saying, on Bitcoin as previous cycles because of its larger market cap. So the law of diminishing returns on the bigger market cap. So that is all still in play. So we looked at XRP. Solana's over $100. Solana had a good move. We'll see whether that holds. And Doge is capped below 10 cents. So with XRP, back in the $1.40, $1.41 range, that seems to be within its pattern here, and it is sitting right at an RSI came up, was overbought here, so we can look at that. Came up, overbought RSI on the daily, and then it fades back down. So that move is what we've seen in a lot of alts happening with that pullback, and XRP again seems to be the one that's most similar to what Dogecoin is doing. But we still have a lower target down here, and we could see this 50-day moving average be a target here, and it's sitting down at like $1.17, $1.18 right now to come back on a dip. So we'll be watching that. Solana up over 100, and it seems to be holding pretty well. We take a look at the quick Solana at 104, and so this is a different structure than we see with XRP and Doge. Solana, Hype, others are getting a lot of buying right now based on their utility and their use. Maybe someday Doge gets into that range. It does that, but that's not how Doge trades. Doge goes on big, fast increases and then settles back 50% to 60% of its gain. And that's how, as a meme coin, we see Doge. We see Doge trading again and again. So Dogecoin's looking at its 50-day moving average down at 775 now. So if Dogecoin breaches below 8 cents, 775 would be the target on that 50-day moving average. Its RSI also was overbought. It's coming back into more of a normal territory, and we see the MACD crossing over here. So we have the big green on the MACD. Things have been settling over the past number of days, which we expected to see, and MACD is crossing back over. So all of that leads to, like, where's Dogecoin going next? So there's a fair value gap down here, again, from 8 down to 7 or so. That fair value gap could be in play. So that would be this red line here. We would see the dip, and a dip could come down into that range. Again, the 50-day moving average and this fair value gap could all be in play on a dip. We broke out of the trend line that we had through the summer, and however you draw this trend line, it could be more steep, it could be more shallow, depending on where your spring point is. Certainly last week's big run, broke all trend lines. Nobody predicted a 25% rise in Bitcoin and a 40% rise up to 10 cents for Doge. Again, Doge outperforming Bitcoin on the rip. However, on the dip, we have Bitcoin holding better than Doge. That typically happens. On the way up, Doge outperforms Bitcoin. On the way back down, Bitcoin outperforms Doge. We see that again and again. I do not see this sort of green, like immediate turn to a bull market. And again, these things take multiple days and even weeks to play out. Again, it's not an immediate thing, although we did have this more immediate run up. But the settling back, as I showed back in 2022, last week I showed that on my live stream, where you get that immediate rip, but things take a couple weeks to sort of settle back. And we have to let that play out for confirmation. And that's what we're waiting for, is confirmation. But this red line here makes a lot of sense to me. We would come back and we would retest, let's call it 8.3 here, where on my chart it's more like 8.16 or so would be that support line. Because I think it would be a little lower than the dip that we had the other day. And we would come back lower into the 7s. That's what I'm watching for. That's what I'm watching for. And that would be next week. And then, does the whole market turn around and then rip? The target on that, on the upside, would be just over 11.5 cents, which is the high that we had back in May. And that would be our target to confirm Dogecoin's turn back into a bull market. Now we have trader tardigrade, of course. It zooms out on a bigger scale, goes back to 2021, draws that upward line from 2021 to 2024, right? That becomes the top of the pennant, the bottom of the pennant. His spring point is whatever it is from 2021. Awesome. The dips in 2022, 2023, and then the current dip, he calls a false break. I mean, it is what it is. It just, you can't have a false break in a line like that. And then he just has this immediately going up, and it's like $5 or whatever. It's just like, so take this for what it is. It's, again, false breakdowns, strongish bullish signals. No, that's real price action. And those are the times that we look to for opportunities to buy. And that's what we continue to do, is look for what those next opportunities are. As Kev Capital says, if you sat on the sidelines and missed the initial move in Bitcoin and altcoins, I have good news. You're still early. The real bull market hasn't started yet. The next 90 days are the time to lock in and get positioned. Stop playing with fire, manage your capital appropriately. And that's it. Let's see how this plays out. It's not an immediate thing, do or die today or tomorrow. We let this play out. Kev has given you this 90-day window here. Let's see, do we get an October low? Does that actually happen, like many were calling for, in terms of the 365-day, that 1 year bear market until we turn back bull? Or have we already started turning, and are there going to be dips along the way? That's what we're waiting to see. So let me know in the comments below what you think about dip before rip. Give the video a like, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. I appreciate the support. We'll see you next time.